me introduce myself first. I am Rofami D. Timkang from BA 2A, and now I will be discussing grading system and the grading system of Department of Education. So let's proceed to task 1. The following final grades are obtained in the class of grade 5 pupils. So these are the grades that are obtained in a class of grade 5 pupils, and there are 55 grades. So the question is, using a non-reference grading with a 7-point scale, determine the scores that would get a failed mark. What is your general comment on this? So first, let us identify or let us know what is the 7-point scale. So 7-point scale, it is the grading scale that has been developed in the part to simplify the compatibility between Danish and foreign grading scales, consists of 5 marks, designating of a passing level, as well as 2 marks designating a non-passing level. So it has 7 range points or 7 percentage points between each grade. For example, 93 to 100. So there are 7, have the range of 7 points. 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100. So there are 7 percentage or 7 points range between. Now, if we're going to ask if there are students who failed, none of the students who failed and all the students are passed. Number 2, using a norm reference grading with an 8-point scale, determine the scores that would get a failing mark. How is it compared to the previous grading system used? So, let us first identify on what is 8-point scale. So 8-point scale, it is one of the 3 most common grading scales used at educational institutions. It has gained increasing popularity largely in response to the phenomenon known as grade inflation. So the 8-point scale have the range of 8 points or between each grade. So for example, 92 to 100, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100. So it have the range of 8 points. So the same here in 7-point scale, all the grades of the students are passed and no students failed. So now, let's proceed to task 1B. Number 1. Compute the grade of a student in grade 5 English with the following row scores. So we have written work, the performance task, and the score in quarterly test or exam. So in written work, we have 85 out of 100. So this 85, this is the row score. And the 100 is the possible highest score. So in order to compute the grade of the student, we have to know first what is the formula. So the formula is percentage score, PS, equals learner's row score divided by highest possible score times 100. So in solution, we have the PS equals, so the row score, 85, over the highest possible score, 100, times 100%. So 85 times 100 equals 0.85 times 100, so we have the 85. This is the percentage score, 85. So in order to get the weighted score, we also know what is the formula. So the formula is percentage score times weight of the components. So if you're wondering, where do we get the weight of the component? So in every subject, there are corresponding weight of components in written work, performance task, and quarterly assessment. So the subject that was being asked is English, so language. So how percent is the corresponding of written work? So that's why we end up with 0.30 because it is the corresponding weighted components for written work in English. So the percentage score score is 85. 85 times 0.30 equals 25.5. So this is the weighted score for written work. So let's proceed to the performance task. 85 out of 100. So 85, this is the raw score, and the 100 is the highest possible score. So solution, same process with the written work. PS, percentage score, 65 over 100 divided by 100 is equals to 0.65 times 100 equals 85. To get the weighted score, same process with the written work, we have to multiply the percentage score to the weight of the component. So in language, the corresponds weight components is 50% in performance task. So we have to multiply 65 times 0.50 equals 32.5. So 32.5, it is the weighted score. Let's proceed to score in quarterly test. We have 55 out of 100. So 55 is the raw score and the 100 is the highest possible score. So 55 divided by 100 equals 0.55 times 100% equals to 55. So now to get the weighted score, we have to look here in subject English on how many percent. So we have 20% in quarterly assessment. So we have to multiply that to the percentage score in quarterly test. So 55 times 0.20 equals 11. So this is the weighted score. Now, to have the final grade, we have to add all the weighted score. So now, after getting the weighted score, all we have to do is add them all. So we have the 25.5, 32.5, and the 11. So here, the written works weighted score is 25.5, performance test 32.5, and quarterly test equals 11. So we have to add them all. So the result or the total is 69. 69, it is not the final grade. It is only the initial grade. So, we were going to transmute it. We were going to check on the system of Department of Education grading. We have to check on where 69 belongs or what transmuted grades correspond to 69. So, 69 corresponded to 80. So, the final grade is 80. So, this is the grade of grade 5 student. So, let's proceed to number 2. Grade 6 student in mathematics with the following raw scores. So, the subject is mathematics. So, the same with the first one. We have written works, performance task, and score in quarterly test. So, in written works, we have 30 out of 50. So, always remember the 30, this is the raw score, and the 50 is the highest possible score. So, now, we have to divide 30 divided by 50 times 100 equals 60. To get the weighted score, we have to multiply 60 times 0.40 equals 24. So this is the weighted score of written work. So if you're going to ask me where do we get the 0.50, we have to look here. So where is the math? Math, it has 40% of weighted component in written works and 40% in performance task, and in quarterly assessment 20%. So let's proceed to performance task. 42 out of 60. So 42 is the raw score and the 60 is the highest possible score. So 42 divided by 60 times 100 equals 70. To get the weighted score, we have to multiply 70 multiplied by 0.50 equals 28. This is the weighted score for performance task. The score in quarterly test, we have 28 out of 40. So 28 is the raw score and the 40 is the highest possible score. So 28 divided by 40 times 100 equals 70. To get the weighted score, same process with the first 70 times 0.20, which is the weighted component for quarterly assessment in mathematics equals 40, 14. So this is the weighted score. So in order to get the final grade, we have to add all the weighted score in written works, in performance tasks, and in quarterly test. So in written works, we have 24, performance task 28, quarterly test 14. We have to add that 3, and the total is 66. So initial grade is 66 and the transmuted grade is 79. So we have to look it in the grading system of Department of Education and we will check where 69 belong is. So at this moment, let's proceed to task 2. Calculate the total row score in each component, determine the percentage, apply the percentage weights, weighted scores, and calculate her first quarter grade. So we're going to calculate Ellen Ramsey grades in Araling Panlipunan. So in this table, this is the percentage score of Ellen Ramsey in written works, performance task, and quarterly test. So we will proceed to written work first. So these are the highest possible rows, highest possible score of Ellen Ramsey, and this is the row score she get. So in order to get the total, we have to add all the row score of Ellen Ramsey in Araling Panlipunan in written work. So 18 plus 12 plus 16 plus 20 plus 20 plus 28 plus 30 equals 144. To get the percentage score in written works, we have to divide 144 divided by 170. So the answer is times 100 is 84.71. And we have to get the weighted score, we have to times it to the weighted component of Araling Panlipunan in written work, which is 30 times 30 equals 25.41. So 25.41, this is the weighted score of Ellen Ramsey in written works in Araling Panlipunan. So let's proceed to the performance task. This is the highest possible score, and this is the row score of Ellen Ramsey in performance task. So there are four performance tasks of Ellen Ramsey. Since we already have the total for the highest possible score, we will get now the total of the row score. So there are 4. We have to add 16, 24, 25, 28 equals to 92. So we have to, in order to get the percentage score in performance task, we have to divide 92 divided by 110 times 100 equals 83.64. And to get the weighted score, we have to times or multiply 83.64 multiplied by 50. So where do we get the 50? This is the weighted components for performance task in Araling Panlipunan. So the answer for 83.64 times 50 equals to 41.82. So 41.82 is the weighted score for performance task in Araling Panlipunan that Ellen Ramsey gets. So in quarterly assessment, we have 30 total for the row score. We have to divide 30 divided by 50 equals times 100 equals 60. So we have to get the weighted score in quarterly assessment, we have to multiply 60 multiplied by 20. So where do we get the 20? So the 20 is the component weight of Araling Panlipunan in quarterly assessment. That's why we end up with the total 12. So the weighted score for written works in Araling Panlipunan is 25.41. In performance task, we have 41.82. And in quarterly assessment, we have 12. So now, we already have all weighted score in written work, in performance task, and quarterly assessment. So in written work, the weighted score is 35.41. In performance task, we have 41.82. And in quarterly assessment, we have 12. So we have to add them all. So the total is 79.23. So 79.23, it is not the final grade of Ellen Ramsey in first quarter. It is only the initial grade. So to get the final grade, we have to look in the grading system of Department of Education, and we have to check on what is 79.23 is if we're going to transmute it, or what transmuted grade correspond to 79.23. So it is correspond, or it is transmuted to 87. So suppose Ellen's Ramsey grade is second, third, and fourth quarter is 88, 90, and 92. What is Ellen Ramsey final rating or final average? So since we already have the first quarter grade of Ellen Ramsey, we have to add the 88, the 90, the 92, and 87, and add them all, and the total we have to divide it into 4. So that's why Ellen's final rating is 89.25, and the descriptive rating is very satisfactory. So we have to look here in the description, grading scale and remarks. So 89.25 belongs to very satisfactory, and her final rating is passed. So let's proceed to task 2B. The final numerical and descriptive ratings of Ellen in other learning area subjects are given in the table. Using the results you have obtained above, determine her final average. So now let's proceed to task 3. You are provided a table showing a sample card of a grade 6 student named Alden for the first quarter of the school year 2020-2021. Fill up the empty spaces to get the needed data until you'll be able to compute for the quarterly grade at the last column. So now we have Filipino, English, Mathematics, Science, Aralpan, Edukasyon sa Pagkatao, EPP, and MAPE. We are provided all the percentage score for written work, performance task, and quarterly assessment. So first, what we're going to do is to get the weighted score in written work, performance task, and quarterly assessment. So 83, so the weighted component for Filipino and written work is 30. So we will going to multiply it by 0.30. So 83 multiplied by 0.30 equals 24.9. So this 24.9 is the weighted score for written works in Filipino. So let's proceed to the performance task. We have 81 percentage score in performance task. So to get the weighted score in performance task, we have to multiply 81 to 0.50. So 0.50, this is the weighted score in Filipino in performance task. So we have the 40.5. This is the total weighted score for performance task in Filipino. So in quarterly assessment, the percentage score is 76. So we have 76, and to get the weighted score, we have to multiply 76 by 0.20. So 0.20, this is the corresponding weighted score for quarterly assessment in Filipino. So the total is 15.2. So we're going to add the 3 weighted score in Filipino in written works, performance task, and quarterly assessment. So we have 80.6. So this 80.6, this is not the final grade. It is only the initial grade. So we're going to look to the grading system of Department of Education, and what is the transmitted grade for 80.6 is 87. So now, after getting Alden's quarterly grade in every learning area, we have to find out the composite grade of Alden in MAPE. So the composite grade of Alden in MAPE is 86.6. So where did we get the 86.6? So 86.6, we have to add the 4 core area in MAPE, and we have Music 85, Arts 88, PE 87, and health 87. So the total for this is 347. So the 347, we have to divide it into 4. That's why we end up with the 86.6. So Alden excel more in edukasyon sa pagpakatao where he gets the highest grades, which is 89. On the other hand, he got the lowest grade in mathematics, 79. In Aaron Fan, 88 is the quarterly grade of Alden, which signify very satisfactory. And the overall grade of Alden is very good. And if given a chance that I can meet or talk to his parents, I will probably say that their child is doing great. But somehow, Alden needs guidance in mathematics since he got the lowest grade. As a teacher, it is important to be always responsibly careful, accurate, and honest in recording and computing the grades of the students, because it will help you to find out in which area do your students excel and which area they have difficulties. And as a student, it will help them understand what they can improve on. As a teacher, you have to be fair and consistent. And this also means that all work should be assessed based on criteria and the students should be treated equally. Grading fairly and consistently will help both the teacher and the students to provide useful feedback to your students and will minimize student grading complaints. Being responsible, honest, careful, and fair in grading will also show that you're a great and effective teacher. And thank you. That would be all.